What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here for episode number 7 of F1 22 My Team Career Mode, this time around for the Spanish Grand Prix. The video before, well, everything started to scramble. You're gonna find out in just a second, but so yeah, welcome to this episode. We're here for the Monaco Grand Prix, a track where I am not that great at, honestly. Even after doing practice around here, it's gonna be an interesting weekend. But what I mean by weird, so if you look at the results, this is the results from Spain, which is the last episode. 16th for Oscar, 17th for us. But eventually, when I got back on my PC, that is what happened. So what happened was I got to the Monaco Weekend, and then eventually when I got back onto the game, I found myself back at Spain. So, but I said to myself, I'm not gonna restart a whole race again. So I thought I'll just do a quick simulation, and well, I did the simulation thinking that, well, I can't get. I'm not going to get in the points anyway. And what happens? We get P10. And I think Oscar got 16th or 17th. So, and apparently Carlos Sainz ends up winning that race. So, if memory serves me correct, that's 3 in a row now for Carlos Sainz. Well, yeah. So that's something that actually shocked me, because I could have sworn that I got to the Monaco Weekend. So what you're about to see is me press A to go to the Monaco Weekend, and well, I didn't do any of the practice programs, but I got to the team facilities at that point. So as you can see, we've hit the wall at the fastest point on the racetrack, and as you saw, we had some front wing damage, and well, we are getting interrupted by Kevin Magnussen during our race run, and I don't know what he's doing. He's literally blocked us, and apparently he's lost his front wing somewhere. So somewhere along the way, from either to back, or maybe even coming out of Anthony Nose, which is the final corner, he's picked up some front wing damage along the way. So yeah, all of that shenanigans of going back to Spain and simulating the whole race again, because I didn't want to spend 45 minutes to an hour just redoing that race and try to get everything back to the way it was, because it's literally going to have to take a miracle to get that right first go. But what's done is done, nothing I can do, so let's just go to qualifying then. So enough talking about all the shenanigans, let's get into the race weekend proper. We're waiting until about the midpoint of the session when everybody completes their first lap, so we can have a nice uninterrupted lap. But one thing I forgot to do again was to turn the damage off, but because well, every time I tried to be like a pro and just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna go flat out, I just hit the barrier, literally every barrier around this track. So I went into time trial, did a bit of practice, and just kind of changed my driving style for this track in particular, and just changed the approach to all the corners. And well, yeah, it has worked out. And even though I forgot to turn the damage off, I've actually done pretty well so far. To get 16th on a secondary lap on one set of tyres, and now we're going out for another run at the end of the session. That was an Aston Martin who refused to go. It was Vettel and now Albon goes as well. There goes Bottas. I'm trying to get out of everyone's way so I can have a nice clean lap and try and burn off some fuel, because apparently fuel burn is quite harsh around here, even on a quali run. So we're trying to let everyone pass, but in doing so, our tyres are stone cold, and the AI don't even want to pass. So not only are they interrupting their own laps, they're interrupting our programs as well. So through all of that, so yeah, our tyres are now stone cold, and I'm trying to heat them up as best as possible. But well, we eventually get to the grid to start, get to the front straight to start our final lap in Q1. But we've got 3 laps of extra fuel. So by the time we complete this lap, we're gonna have like 2 and a bit laps of spare fuel. So I reckon, could our landlords at EA just make the fuel burn a little less aggressive? Because we don't need 4 laps of fuel around, 4 laps to do, or 4 laps worth of fuel to do a lap in qualifying. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, you're gonna need like 2.5 laps of fuel on board to go out, do a lap, and then have enough to come back in at the end of the session. So anyway, we're 3/10 up as we head into back the fastest part of the racetrack. Absolutely flat out through here into the swimming pool chicane. Really maximise the track limits. Put the car up against the wall if you can. Into Rascas, miss the apex a little bit there, maybe a bit of understeer, into Anthony Nose, which is the final corner, and onto the front straight, into Hot Lap, DRS open. It's a 4/10th improvement. Where does this put us in qualifying? P10, and guys, this is on 100 AI, and we're into the top 10 at the end of qualifying. Oscar, yeah, he's a good 6/10 off of our pace, but yeah, I am deeply surprised. We did a banker, a 13.9. We're going to wait until, well, this time we're going to wait until everybody comes out of the pit lane, and then we're going to start our progression towards the top 10. So we are, I think we're about 1.7, 1.8 off the top 10. We're going to need to find like 2 seconds or more to get into Q2. So 2 seconds plus is the aim. Now we hit the barrier somewhere in our qualifying lap. I don't know exactly where it was, or I can't remember, but it definitely affected us through to back end the swimming pool chicane. So if we can find as much time in the first and second sectors, maybe you can set us up perfectly through the final sector as we do a nice cheeky corner cut at the swimming pool chicane. Really got to cheese some of these corners to absolute perfection. So it's going to be a 2-second dead improvement, but I don't think it's going to be enough for us to get into Q2. It's not. It's P11, but still P11 in what the second worst car. That's a darn good effort if you think about it. So we're only 700ths away from Kevin Magnussen in the Haas from Q3. I tell you what, Q3 in the car that's shithouse in the performance index. That's a very, very good result. Even though rivalry doesn't really say much, it doesn't matter about the rivalry. It's about what you do in qualifying. Let's go to the race now.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino that first opened in 1863. And of course, a certain road race first held in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The astonishing Circuit de Monaco is, for all intents and purposes, virtually unchanged since its inaugural race back in 1929. The faster cars of today ensure the 19 corners past the casino and along the seafront remain as thrilling as ever. A 2.1 mile lap here takes us around an entire country, yet never more than inches from the race-ending barriers. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, George Russell, and Norris, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, and Kevin Magnussen, Skip, Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Mick Schumacher. Hamilton, Joe. Sebastian Vettel and Alex Albon. Tsunoda, Stroll. Oscar Piastri and Nicholas Latifi. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Thank you, Mark, and we'll see what we can do. Well, I mean, if you really want to count the points for the P10 or P9, whatever it was in Spain, but well, we're going to need maybe one less points finish throughout before the end of the season, just to make it a bit more realistic. Because I didn't think we'd be getting a points finish in Spain through a simulation skip. But well, it is what it is. So we're just gonna get on with the job and get on with this race, which we are gonna do. Tire temps, getting the tires up to temperature was actually a little bit of a struggle, I must admit, throughout this formation lap. Even though going through Mirabeau and the Lowe's hairpin, it doesn't really help the cause. And then slowing the car down, well, 1.7 away from the grid slot's not great. So that's not gonna help us out too much. But well, we've got 39 laps ahead of us. But as I said, just waiting on the grid, especially this far up the order, waiting for everybody to get into their slots and having our tyres cool out. It's not great, but we'll see what happens. Lights out and away we go here in Monaco. Good stuff from Kevin Magnussen. He's already passed Valtteri Bottas before we go into turn number 1 at Saint Devon. No heroics into turn 1. It looks like everybody is through. We've got 22 cars remaining so far as we head up towards the Casino Square. A little bit of understeer in the car. Well, yeah, the tyres are still slowly coming up to temperature as we speak, fending off Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. We're still currently P11, but this is where everybody's going to get held up, and we do a nice cheeky overtake at the Lowe's hairpin. I think it's the Fairmont hairpin that people call it these days. So we're up into the points now. Fernando Alonso is up next. He started on the hard compound tyres, so his tyres may still be a little bit cold, or they might be able to come into temperature right about now or from here on in. Well, it's a good start. We're up a spot at least. We're into the points, and well, if we can keep this up, cheeky corner car at Saint Devot. If we keep this up, maybe get in front of Fernando. If we can get in front of Fernando, it'll compromise.
Somewhere on the MGUK. To manage this, we're going to need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
Thank you, Mark. And well, we're also running with a bit of a warm power unit. I really wanted to run this power unit for this race only because Baku is up next. That's got a very long straight and it's going to be high speed pretty much on that straight. So I want to save some new power unit components for the next race. Quick replay of the start. Looks like Carlos Sainz got away really well compared to his teammate. So Sainz leads from Leclerc and Verstappen and Perez. This is on board with Kevin Magnussen. He gained 3 spots on the first lap. So he got past Bottas and he got past Alonso around the outside of Saint Devot. Well, you could say they came out, did a bit of heroics there. Well, it was fair and it was clean from Kevin Magnussen, so well done. Nice little bit of heroics there, if we could say. Now he's up into P7, so whereabouts did he gain another spot? Right here at Mirabeau on Daniel Ricciardo as well. He's going to be on the outside for the Fairmont hairpin, but he actually gets the job done in that process. And there's us getting up the inside of Bottas as well.
Right, we've got a very worn out MGUK. Our battery charge speed is suffering, and if it gets much worse, we could be forced to retire.
Well, that's not really what you wanted to hear from Mark, especially we're at the end of lap 2 already. Well, considering that Monaco isn't really much of a power track and we're not using much ERS, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. If you guys are having issues with that, then maybe I'm missing something out of that as well.
Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of it.
I just hit the wall just before we got onto the little straight into the tunnel. Kevin Magnussen, he's having a good race. He's still ahead of Ricciardo, but he started to drop away away from the top 6 at the moment, which is led by, well, you can see Lando just in that little shot going into Saint-Devois. Lap 9, now we are starting to lose a bit of touch with Fernando at this point. You know what, but I kind of guessed that, but I didn't think he'd be, well, 2 seconds in front at this point. I was hoping when DRS got enabled, I was hoping that we would be able to stay with him for a little bit longer, but that hasn't really gone to plan. So Leclerc is trying to hunt down his teammate. It looks like Sainz has got a bit of pace over Carlos at the moment, and just checking in on Oscar as well. He's in front of the AlphaTauri, and he's still catching, still trying to catch the Aston of Lance Stroll, I think that is. Lap 13 now, we're about 4 or 5 laps out from the pit window. So if you look at the mini-map, we're kind of scattered in terms of, well, from the midfield, or from where we are, back down to where the Williams is, who's going through the Noval chicane at the moment. So we are kind of scattered, and well, it's hard to pass around here anyway. So really, you wouldn't be seeing many overtakes. You would have thought so. Really, the only way you can make an overtake is you either pull off an undercut or an overcut. Depends on how you look at it. Anyway, pit stop time now. Verstappen is in the lane with Charles Leclerc. It looks like those guys have gone on to Haas. We saw the Haas crew come out as well for Kevin Magnussen and for Daniel Ricciardo as well. Anyone who's on mediums would be going onto the hards, I would assume. What does Magnussen go on to? A set of hards. That's all good. And they got a problem on the car, and that has allowed Ricciardo to get in front, and that's Valtteri Bottas, who is right behind us. And well, we didn't come in, so we're gonna try and pull off our aim is to try and pull off an overcut. Hopefully, we can still get in front of Valtteri. If we can do that, and maybe, just maybe, pull off another cut on Alonso, who won't be pitted for another 4 or 5 laps maybe, and well, who knows what can happen from that point onwards. This is the rejoin with us and Verstappen. We are going to box at the end of this lap. It's important if we can get in front of Max so that we don't get affected by dirty air too much, but we weren't able to get close enough. I think his tyres came up to temperature pretty nicely. Lap 18, or the end of lap 18, we're into the pit lane for a set of hard compound tyres. We're going to take those to the end of the race, and we'll be able to hopefully come out ahead of Valtteri Bottas. If we can get in front of Bottas, we'll be able to get our tyres up to temperature without letting it back past. We came in at the same time as Oscar did, so out into the pit lane he goes, and well, where does he come out relative to anyone else? We're going to come out in front of Bottas, I think. Where is he? Yeah, there he is, right behind us. So we're on stone cold tyres, but we do have a gap of over a second, and that's Oscar just getting in front. I think he's pulled off an overcut on Lance Stroll. So Oscar is now in front. All he needs to do now is to get those tyres up to temperature, and he should be able to fend off a fast charging Lance Stroll at that point. So right now, looks like our tyres are slowly coming up to temperature, but Bottas is right up our ass. So if we could just fend off Bottas and maybe use a bit of our battery, which we haven't really used throughout much of this race, we can hopefully use that extra ERS, and then we can hopefully stay ahead of Valtteri for the next 18 laps of this race. There's a yellow flag behind us. I wonder who's that for. It is Lewis Hamilton, who nearly hit the wall, and I think he's actually got a problem. He's got more than that. He's got an engine failure, and he's going to pull out of this Monaco Grand Prix down the Nico Rosberg Avenue. Down the Nico Rosberg Avenue goes Hamilton. Now, I was a little bit confused at this point why we were P11, but apparently Ocon, but I forgot that Ocon and Alonso started on hards, and they're yet to stop. So I'm not sure where Alonso is at the moment, or if we're even gaining any ground. on Fernando. So a few laps later, or not much longer, he came into the pits. He chucked on a set of mediums, so it's sayonara to Fernando at the moment. Now we've got all this clear air in front of us, and we should be able to really utilise all that clear air and just stay ahead and maybe even break away from Bottas a little bit. Ocon, who was running 8th before the pits, before he made his stop, also came into the pit lane. And well, honestly, this race has almost gone by pretty quickly, but at the same time, it felt like it took an eternity because we were in the points. And well, we've got sim damage on. I forgot to turn the damage off once again, but in all honesty, we've actually done really well in this race, even though we've got worn out components, and maybe leaving us a little bit vulnerable on the straight. We have done exceptionally well, even though we are still pushing like crazy as we nearly hit the wall at the exit of the swimming pool chicane. And well, we've been pushing the limits a fair bit throughout this race, and thankfully, well, we've either grazed the wall lightly and gotten away with no damage, or we have gotten some sharp bites on the front wing but haven't really affected us. That is a McLaren going very slowly. It is Daniel Ricciardo that's going very slowly, and he's got a problem of some sort. There's no smoke coming out of the engine, but he is pulling over, and that is Ricciardo's Monaco Grand Prix over and out. And there we are, just arriving on the scene of where Ricciardo is. Now we did a whole lap before we saw Hamilton at Mirabeau, but there was no VSC or a full course safety car at that point. So, and unfortunately, there wasn't one there. Once again, just checking how Oscar is doing. He's pulled away from Lance, but yeah, he's kind of lost touch of the cars in front. If you guys didn't see that little clip there, just coming out of Anthony Noakes. Now 5 laps to go. We're still pushing as hard as we can. Now we've got a lot of ERS to bear, but I think we might say that for maybe a last lap personal best attempt. But one thing I want to talk about is the fuel burn. The fuel burn hasn't been that bad. I thought we were guaranteed to be like really tight on fuel. But yeah, fuel burn actually hasn't been that bad. I mean, if I knew this, I probably could have gone under a lap, which would have made the car a little bit lighter. But we've hit the wall for 2 times. Now we've hit it a 3rd time, coming out of Anthony Noakes. And, well, we've checked the MFD, but there's no damage. There wasn't really much I could see on the front wing, but I didn't want to take any chance. I just want to bring this thing home with 3 laps to go. But yeah, if I knew that the fuel burn wasn't going to be as bad, then maybe I could have lowered the fuel load a little bit more. I think we started with 1 3/4 laps worth of fuel, of extra fuel, just because of what I thought was going to happen in this race. Because fuel burn in racing games has actually been pretty crazy in Monaco, especially with no fuel efficiency upgrades. Especially in the first few season, or the first season and maybe season 2, especially when you don't have those fuel efficiency upgrades, it's really crazy how much fuel you're burning. But well, one man who's not going to be worried about fuel is Carlos Sainz, who's going to take apparently 4 in a row right now. If Leclerc, he'll finish 2nd in his home Grand Prix, would have loved the win, but Verstappen comes home to take the final podium place, his first podium of the year maybe, with Perez in 4th, Russell in 5th, and Lando Norris takes out the top 6. Well done to those guys, and back to us now. We're going to be P9 because of Ricciardo's retirement. So an extra point gained for us. We can literally gain any points we can at the moment. We got 2 points in Saudi with P9. We got a point apparently last time out in Spain. Well, if you go back to the actual video, we got 17th. We're gonna need probably 1 less points finish just to make it a bit more even. But P9 in Monaco with sim damage, great effort.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
that is a darn good effort with sim damage and a points finish. But to be honest, to get into the end, it felt like an eternity.
So another excellent win from Ferrari. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Ferrari cannot be stopped. They are literally the team to beat right now, especially with a car that is so suited to a track like Monaco. Unfortunate it wasn't to be in real life. But yeah, well, Red Bull and Mercedes, they've got no answer at the moment, even though with the recent game patches to make it more realistic, because Red Bull have the better race car on Sunday, but it's not proving to be in the game at the moment. I don't know if it's a thing that needs to be nerfed again, but, well, yeah, well, literally no one can stop Ferrari at the moment. But P9 for us, 17th for Oscar, up 4 spots. Well, he's got the strategies right again, Oscar, and he's up 4 spots. That's a good effort. It's a good effort. If you gain 3 or 4 spots from the last row, especially around Monaco, you can't really do, you really can't do too much more, especially around a tight, twisty street circuit like Monaco. So now we're on 6 constructors points with that P9 finish from us, and I think, if memory serves me correct, we should be in front of both Aston and Williams, and yes we are. So we're 2 points ahead of Williams, and we're 5 points ahead of Aston. We're gonna need some big upgrades and maybe some lucky results if we're gonna have any chance of challenging AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo, but we're going to need some lucky results and some upgrades getting on the car at tracks that we desperately need. But right now, any upgrade that we do probably won't get on in time the car until about Silverstone, and that's a track that is so OP for the AI. But well, even upgrades at Silverstone may help, but it depends on how you look at it. Silverstone isn't a great track for the player anyway. It depends on, well, yeah, it literally depends on how you look at it. Even when you do laps in time trial and you think, I can beat the AI, they're impossible to beat. You're literally going to need something crazy to happen to win a race around Silverstone. But in a backmarket car, we're probably going to be looking at dead last in that weekend anyway. So that's the Monaco Grand Prix for today. The next race will be in Baku. No upgrades to go on as we speak at this point. So we're gonna have to pray for some good pace and a good setup to have on the car. Well, we can only hope and just have our fingers crossed that we've got a car that is capable of scoring points the deeper we get into this season. But guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Until the next one, for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, I'll catch you next time.